I grew up in a small town, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone and secrets never stay buried for long. 3 years ago, my cousin Amma was preparing for her wedding. She was beautiful, kind, the kind of person everyone loved, and her groom, Kweku, well, everyone said he was perfect, charming, well-spoken, the kind of man every mother prayed her daughter would marry. But my grandmother didn't like him. She said, "I don't trust him." I thought she was just being overprotective. Kweku had just moved back from Accra, modern, confident, always polite. The whole family adored him, except her. The night before the wedding, I stayed in Amma's room to keep her company. She couldn't sleep. She kept pacing, twisting her ring finger, humming a song I didn't recognize. Around 2 in the morning, I woke up and found her sitting by the window, her face pale in the moonlight. When I asked what was wrong, she whispered, "Someone's calling me." Her voice didn't sound like her own. I didn't hear anything. No voice, no footsteps, just the wind through the trees. But Amma looked terrified. Her eyes were fixed on something outside. She turned to me and said, barely moving her lips, "It's my father. He says I shouldn't wear the ring." Her father had been dead for 7 years. I wanted to scream, but instead I reached for her hand. It was ice cold. I told her it was just nerves, just a dream, but she didn't answer. She just kept staring out that window until the first light of dawn. The next morning, everything seemed fine. The village was alive with music, laughter, people dancing and carrying gifts. Amma smiled again, and I started to think the night before had just been exhaustion. The ceremony began beautifully. The traditional songs, the drumming, the smell of food in the air. When Amma walked down the aisle in her white and gold dress, everyone clapped. Even my grandmother smiled for the first time that day. Then came the vows. Kweku's hand trembled slightly as he slipped the gold ring onto her finger. Then Ward smiled, then gasped. Her whole body stiffened. For a moment, she looked confused, like she didn't recognize anyone around her. And then she fell. The music stopped. People rushed forward. At first, we thought she had fainted from the heat. But when the village nurse checked her pulse, she shook her head. No heartbeat, no breath, nothing. At the hospital, they said the same thing. Cardiac arrest, maybe. But there were no signs, no symptoms, no explanation. She had simply stopped. Her rur, and the strangest part? The wedding ring was gone. The one Kweku had placed on her finger moments before. We searched everywhere. The floor, her dress, the grass outside. It had vanished. Kweku didn't speak for days after. He just sat silently beside the coffin during the funeral, eyes empty. Then a week later, he disappeared too. He didn't take his clothes, his phone, or his car. He was just gone. Mysterieux. When his family came from their village, they revealed something that made my skin crawl. He had already been married once. His first wife had died suddenly too, on their wedding day. No one knew where she was buried. My grandmother said something I still hear in my head sometimes when I can't sleep. She said, "Amma didn't marry a man. She married a shadow that was already taken." It's been 3 years now. Kweku was never found. Amma's ring never resurfaced. When it rains at night, I dream of her, standing by that window again, whispering that someone's calling her name. And in the dream, I always hear it too. My name is Linda, and this story is about my younger sister, Ada. We grew up in a close family, always laughing, always together. Ada was the soft one, the kind who forgave easily, trusted quickly, and believed in people more than she should have. When she met Michael, she told me he was different. He was a preacher, not the kind you see on TV, but the leader of a small revival church that met in an old warehouse at the edge of town. She said he prayed for her one day after work and saw her future. Light amusement, then uneasy. At first, I laughed. She'd dated bad guys before, but a pastor? That felt safe. Until we met him. From the moment he shook my hand, I felt uneasy. His eyes didn't match his smile. Cold, sharp, always watching. He spoke softly, but his words carried a weight that made you feel small. He called everyone child of grace, even my parents. After that first meeting, my father said, "That man is not who he pretends to be." But Ada wouldn't listen. She said we were judging him because he didn't come from a big church. She said, "Michael is a man of God, not a man of the world." Within 6 months, they were married. From the very beginning, something changed. Ada stopped visiting, stopped answering calls. When I did see her, she looked thinner, quieter, like she was trying to be invisible. She said Michael didn't want her mixing too much with worldly people. We were her family, but now she said we were spiritually distracting her. One day I visited her unannounced. Michael's church was built behind their house. Just a few wooden benches, drums and a pulpit. I saw people on their knees, crying, shouting. When I asked where Ada was, one of the women said, "She's in the inner room. Only pastor can be there." I tried to enter, but the door was locked. I heard whispering, Michael's voice, low and calm, and Ada's voice, trembling. I called her name. Silence. Then Michael came out smiling, sweat on his forehead. He said, "The Spirit is working on her. Don't disturb the process." That was the last time I saw her. For weeks we called and called. Her number went straight to voicemail. Michael told us she was fasting and praying for 40 days and couldn't speak to anyone. Then he stopped answering completely. We went to the police. They told us it was a family matter. We went to the church, but the building was empty. No benches, no instruments. It was like the place had never existed. Months passed. Her Facebook disappeared. Her bank account closed. It was as if Ada had been erased. One night, almost a year later, I got a message from a strange number. No words, just a voice note. I played it. It was her. Her voice was shaky, like she was whispering and crying at the same time. She said, "Linda, don't come here. He's watching me. I can't leave. Pray for me." Then, silence. In the background, I heard faint singing, a hymn I recognized from Michael's church. The message ended abruptly, and when I tried to call back, the line was dead. We traced the number, but it was unregistered. The police said it could have been a scam, but I know my sister's voice. I grew up with it. To this day, we've never found her. Sometimes I dream she's still out there, sitting in that inner room, praying, believing she's doing God's will. And sometimes, when I pass one of those small churches in the city, I stop outside and listen. If I hear that same hymn, I walk away, because deep down, I know she's still in there somewhere, and maybe she doesn't want to be found anymore. My name is Yvonne, and I used to believe that love could change everything. I came from a respected family in Abidjan, educated, disciplined, and careful about appearances. When I met Daniel, I truly thought I had found the one. He was living in France then, working in logistics, well-spoken, and calm. We met through a cousin who lived abroad, and at first, our relationship was just messages and late-night video calls. He always made time for me, always told me I was special. And for 2 years, we lived that way. A digital romance across continents. He said he was saving money, that he wanted to come home and make things official. And when he finally did, he came with gifts for everyone. Perfumes, phones, clothes for my parents. He looked like a dream come true. My mother cried at the introduction ceremony. My father said, "This is a good man. He came back for you." And for a while, it felt true. We got married in church and moved into a beautiful apartment he rented in Cocody. He said he'd return to France soon to finalize some documents and then apply for my visa. I was supposed to join him after 6 months. The first few weeks were perfect. He prayed every morning, called me my queen, told everyone how blessed he was. But slowly, little things started to feel off. He never let me see his passport. He hid his phone every time he got a call from a work contact. Sometimes, he'd stay out all day, saying he was visiting an embassy or helping a friend. One night, I woke up and found him on the balcony, speaking softly, in French. He sounded affectionate, the same way he used to talk to me. And when I asked who he was talking to, he smiled and said, "You worry too much." The next morning, his phone buzzed while he was in the shower. I didn't mean to look, but the message was right there on the screen. It said, "The kids miss you. When are you coming back?" I froze. The profile photo was a woman holding 2 children. They looked like him. Same smile, same eyes. When I confronted him, he didn't deny it. He just said, "You don't understand how life works abroad. Things are complicated." He told me I was his African home, that his other wife didn't really count. Then he laughed, as if that made it okay. From that day, everything changed. He stopped touching me, stopped talking, unless it was about money. He said I had to help him if I wanted us to build a future, that I should take loans in my name, invest in his business plans. I was stupid enough to believe him. I sold my car, emptied my savings, even borrowed from friends. He started sending money transfers every month, not to me, but abroad. He said it was for business. But one night, I checked one of the receipts he left lying around. It was a family remittance, his other family. I wanted to tell my parents, but I was too ashamed. The girl who'd once been everyone's pride had become a fool. And then one morning, he was gone. No note, no message. His clothes, gone. His phone, disconnected. His bank account, empty. The landlord said he'd cancelled the lease 2 weeks earlier. I went to the airport, desperate, thinking he might still be here. But the agent at the airline counter said the name Daniel Kouassi had flown out the previous night on a one-way ticket to Paris. I never saw him again. Later, I learned from a friend living in Lille that he was there, living with his real family, wife and 2 children, in a small apartment paid for, at least partly, by the money he took from me. My parents don't talk about it. They tell people the marriage just didn't work out. But I know what really happened. He didn't just steal from me. He erased me, turned me into a stranger in my own life. And sometimes, When I see messages from strange numbers on my phone that say, "Bonjour, ma belle," I still feel my heart jump for just a second before the fear comes rushing back, because somewhere out there, he's probably doing the same thing to another woman who still believes in love.